Hi everyone, it's Sam and welcome to another Bullet Journal weekly spread. Today we'll be doing these two sets of lovebirds done in a folk art style. I take you through the pencil drawing and then the painting section through to the finishing touch, which is the doodling in the paint pens. It is a longish video, so I would suggest making sure you get a nice hot drink and sit back and enjoy this one. So let's get started. So for this week I decided to do a Dutch door style spread where I divided the pages in half and cut away the top middle section that we didn't need. This left me plenty of space for fun artwork. So starting with the blank page and my Coloraze pencil, we start to draw the lovebirds. This pencil is very easy to erase, which means you don't damage the page when you make a mistake and you need to rub it out. For the lovebirds, imagine drawing a toy rubber duck that you use in a bathtub. We're talking very simple shapes for the wings and bodies. This is because folk art isn't particularly representational. It's simple shapes, bold blocks of colour, overlaid with intricate doodles, and that's the look I'm going for today. I wanted to depict a riot of colour and springtime love in the air for these lovebirds. These cute birds are going to be facing one another in this particular scene, both standing on flower stalks. Here I decide to give each bird a flourishing fan-shaped tail, just for a touch of whimsy. I really had fun with this spread, as you can tell. You can't really make any mistakes with this kind of style. The flowers are going to be done in a similar kind of way, where they're just represented by blocks of colour with circles or cone shapes and plenty of doodling on the top. So now this is the second set of birds. I wanted to show a lovely set of lovebirds looking after their nest of eggs. One bird is flying in with a twig in his mouth and a little heart-shaped gift for his mate. Again, I keep drawing the body very simple, almost a rounded oblong with wings and a tail. There's the little branch I was talking about, the gift. And the other lovebird is drawn in a similar style to the first two. Just think of a toy rubber duck, as I said before. You can exaggerate the shapes any which way you want to. It really doesn't matter. So we're just drawing in the wing and the bird's feet, and then we're going to work on drawing the nest with the eggs. Again, this is a very simple depiction of a nest. It's just semicircles for the eggs and then short straight lines for the twigs that make up the nest. Now I'm just trying to work out what will be in the background. I decided they're going to be up in a tree with branches and leaves. So now I go back to the first picture and use my 2H pencil, which is a hard pencil, to map out the flowers and some of the doodling that I'm going to do later. I start putting more detail that is necessary at this point, and I soon give up on that and just stick to drawing large shapes of the leaves and flowers, really the positions they're going to occupy, because that's really all that's needed. Once the paint goes on, then I'll be able to do more detailed doodling on the top. So this couple are going to be surrounded by flowers, so I draw a cup shape and then a basic hexagon, some circles and cone shapes to represent the flowers. Now I have a fairly good idea of the lovebirds and their surroundings. I turn to my mechanical pencil, which has a 0.5mm nib, to draw out the complete compositions on both pages. Now I can do that with confidence. I'll be quiet for a bit, you'll be pleased to know, and let you enjoy seeing how these pictures come together with the mechanical pencil. And there we have the finished pencil sketch composition. And I think they look so cute. I can't wait to paint them. So now it's time to choose the paint colours. In the video linked above, I do go through the complete swatch of the colours that are available in this gouache set, and I do also cover some colour theory on how to make the most of your set in terms of mixing colours. For this particular spread, I chose colours from right across the rainbow spectrum, as I knew I wanted a riot of colour in both pastels and stronger, more intense, rich colours. I've just spritzed the paint blobs and I'm now erasing all the excess lines, because once the paint goes on the pencil you won't be able to erase any pencil lines. So this is your last chance really to correct any minor mistakes. The lines are still vaguely visible should I still need them. So now I'm adding the water. You can see the colours. My aim really are for the lovebirds to be in sharp focus, surrounded by a haze of colours, both pastel and intense, watery and not. It will all add up to a very interesting, beautiful background. I start with adding the more intense blue for the stems they're sitting on, and then wherever I need a pastel, I add white to the colour. I am not even thinking at this point. I'm literally applying random blobs of colour wherever I feel like it. It's a lot of fun and very liberating. I use white as a blending colour for the background, and I'm not concerned whether the paint blobs bleed or not. We just get what we get at the end and work with it. For the second set of lovebirds, I chose to go with a more watery background with more muted colours and pastels, almost as a way of suggesting a more nurturing environment because of the nest and the egg. I was probably overthinking it, to be honest, but it does make for a slightly different overall look compared to the first scene. So now we're moving on to the lovebirds themselves, and if you recall I said I wanted them to be the focus of each scene. The first layer for both sets are going to be whited out pastel colours for the base. I use pale yellow, pinks and oranges for the first set of birds, and the second set I use very pale turquoise and lilac. Sorry about my head popping in and out of view, I'm afraid. While those first layers are drying, I then move on to painting the eggs and leaves and wherever I feel has missed out on some paint. So I dry the pages after each stage, and have now mixed up a stronger, more concentrated set of colours, oranges, reds and yellows, because I want to deepen the richness of each set of birds now with some shading. That's why it's nice to start off really pale, because there is room to manoeuvre and deepen your colours. I chose to make the faces a deeper yellow with a whiter sort of halo effect around the eyes. So now we're mixing a darker pink and a bit of a lilac for the wings, and we're going to deepen the oranges as well, just to make those colours stand out a little more obviously. And then I paint some cute little red dots on each bird's chest with a fine brush. For the second set of birds, I tried to deepen the turquoise and add a bit of white around the eyes. Again, it's about increasing the saturation of each of the colours so that they stand out more obviously. And this gorgeous purple I use for the dots on their chests and a little bit on their tail. So now it's time for the doodling with acrylic paint pens. Yes, I'm just a little bit excited about that. The set of pens that I'm using are linked below. They're actually an acrylic paint pen set of 30 with an extra fine point. I go straight in with an intense orange and draw spirals all along the backs of the birds, and then use a pale yellow to colour in between those spirals. I use this pale colour to doodle over the wings. Again, it's spirals with a few curved lines going down to the tips of the wings. For the second set of lovebirds, I use a turquoise to do the wings. Again, it's a lighter colour, but it is still intense and opaque. I choose a gorgeous lilac pen to do the spirals on the back. And here is the weekly reminder to encourage you all to like, comment or share or subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying the content I'm putting out each week. Every Thursday there should be a new bullet journal video for you. So at this stage I felt that the doodled patterns were not standing out enough because the underlying paint was too pale. This is where I mixed up a dark, rich, contrasting colour, in this case a sort of crimson, and started painting over the acrylic pens. Because they're acrylic, they are water resistant, so you can paint over it and the doodle pattern will remain intact. Here I just mix up some bright red to shade the first set of birds in a similar fashion. And there you can see the doodle patterns really stand out now. Just adding a few touches like the hearts on the branch. And now we're going to outline the lovebirds with a very fine 0.28mm gel pen. Gel pens are great because when you've used lots of different mixed media like acrylic, the gel pen will still work very well over all kinds of different mediums. In this case I'm using a really nice deep brown colour, and I outline each bird and make sure their eyes are now a prominent feature. This is one of my favourite parts because this is when I really felt the birds came to life and literally popped off the page. I hope you're loving the way these birds are turning out too. I fell in love with them so much I've decided to turn them into stickers. I still haven't decided whether it's individual stickers or on a sticker sheet, so maybe you can leave me a comment and tell me which you would prefer. I will definitely do a video showing the stickers when they're eventually done, but don't worry, it'll be an extra video in addition to my weekly bullet journal session. I'm just going over a bit of the turquoise doodling. And now we're going to paint the nest of eggs. I use a mix of off-white, yellow and brown for this. This quill brush is particularly good for adding little blobs of colour, but you can still get a lot of contour and definition where you feel you need it. So now it's time to doodle the flowers for the first set of lovebirds. Again, I'm keeping things very simple. I use my yellow pen to do some dots, and then my turquoise pen to add further dots, and then some radial lines to represent the flower head. I use the simple motifs of lines and dots throughout this picture. The leaf veins I depict very geometrically, which is something you see in folk art. Just take a look on Pinterest, you'll see what I mean. For the leaves and foliage, I flit between two different colour acrylic pens, this olive green and this dark forest green, and then I also use my fine liner pen in olive just to change it up a little. It is important when you're doing the background of paintings like this that you don't lose the central focus, so I'm trying not to overpower the picture so much and you still look at the birds. This is where I found using pastel acrylic pens to be particularly useful, because you got the detail there but it didn't overwhelm the picture at all. This light turquoise colour is one of my favourites. I used it for every blob of blue that you can see on that picture. We're almost done for this set of lovebirds. I'm just using a darker shade of purple now for a little bit of variety on the purple flowers, and we're pretty much there. Using simple lines and dots makes for a very relaxing technique with very satisfying results. I really think it would be great if you could give it a try yourselves. And there we have it. On to the next set of lovebirds. I decided on a whim that I wanted the eggs to be Easter eggs and used a bright yellow, turquoise and that pale yellow, almost cream looking colour to decorate all the eggs. This was really fun and I was really enjoying myself by this point. Using the bold colours to do zigzags and waves is such an easy way to add a cute fun feature to the nest of eggs. So now I'm using my fine gel pen, the one that's 0.28mm, to add definition to the eggs and to the nest. And this is a little personal touch for my mother. This is forget-me-nots that I'm doing in opaque turquoise acrylic pen. I love the idea that the parent birds decorate their nests with little flowers and forget-me-nots. And now we're on to defining the background a bit more, so I'm back with the lilac pen for the flowers, and then you'll see me do the leaf veins again as I did before on the other spread. Again, I'm trying not to overwhelm the picture. I still want the focus to be the two lovebirds. It was lovely to change the line weights of the leaf veins, alternating between the acrylic pen and a fine liner pen. The finishing touch for this final set of lovebirds is the gel pen to outline the branches and the hearts. I hope you love the way this pair turned out. And now we're on to painting the Dutch door pages. In my February Plan With Me video linked above, I do go into a little bit more detail about how I paint most of the backgrounds of my bullet journal pages, especially the drying process, so you might want to take a look at that. For these pages, I just mixed up the remaining colours on my palette, added some white and red to create this lovely muted pink. I use a very watery mix because it spreads easily, and the pages of this particular brand of bullet journal seem to cope very well with this. As you can see, there is no bleed through or ghosting. The hairdryer is your best friend to quickly get those pages dry, and then I added a peachy colour to the remaining Dutch door pages. So now I use a nice pink brush pen to highlight the title areas for where I'll put the days of the week. And I go on to use my acrylic pen set to fill in the titles. All the materials I've used are linked in the description below. I hope you have enjoyed this video, even though it's a bit of a long detailed one. Next week it is going to be the big April Plan With Me monthly bullet journal video, so I hope you join me then. Don't forget to like or subscribe, and definitely give me feedback. That's the only way I can improve my videos. I hope you love the finished spread as much as I do. Take care everyone, and see you next week.